I am an optimist, actually, and I wake up thinking it's going to be a great day, and it tends not to be, and by about 10 o'clock in the morning I'm disappointed, and that's what feeds the comedy.
Are you one of those people that secretly hopes you have quite a bad holiday so that it'll make a good routine?
Yeah. That's the great thing about being a stand-up, is that even when things are shit, you know, I've got to get out of it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Disharmony is fertile, as a fertile environment for comedy. And dysfunction is fuel.
I do go through the mill with all of that stuff in real life before it ever occurs to me that it could be funny. In fact, usually it's other people, but this is going to be a good routine, isn't it? And I want to hit them, you know, because I'm still so angry about what's happened. And it'll only be later that frustration can start to reform as a kind of as a comic idea.
I remember once, at one point, it was a long time ago, but I was upset about something, and I was crying. And I was crying like this, going, and the mirror was over here, right? And I went like this. I remember crying, going, and I caught my reflection and went, oh, that's interesting. That's what grief looks like. Must remember that. Right? That's useful, that. That's interesting. I look quite sad.
This is my album, my record album, and I want you to go into stores and ask for this. And if the dealer doesn't have it, go back at night with a can of black paint and paint a swastika on the store. It has all these stories and more. It was recorded live in Chicago, and it's a few pence or whatever it is, and it's a good record, and I'm amusing on it, and it's unbreakable and lasts for life.
I'm a collector. Some people collect fag packets, some collect teapots, some collect golf clubs, whatever. I collect funny stories. And anybody that has a collection, love people to share their collection. And that's all I do. All these funny stories I tell, every night I get the chance for people to share my collection with me.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it.
You're always on the lookout for new jokes.
So you're a scavenger?
No, I'm on the lookout for new jokes.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Quite
Scavenger
right.
goes round bins.
No, I know. Oh, I guess so. Like
you
magpie. Maybe that's a better expression. I know Len's like that.
I'm not
He's
a magpie.
totally like that.
A magpie's a knicker.
Oh, that's true.
You never do
All
that.
right, I apologise. That's
never,
wrong.
You never nick a gag.
The jokes are more important than I am. I like the idea of... I like sometimes when people sort of come and see the show, and then afterwards you meet them and they go, oh, I used that joke in my best man speech. And you go, oh, that's brilliant. You took it and you went on with it. Brilliant. Great. I'm really glad. That's a brilliant thing.
Are you in the school of whoever tells it best can have it, then?
No. Any punter is more than welcome.
Another comedian is not.
Another comedian can fuck off.
It's more of a taboo amongst comics to be accused of stealing than it is to be accused of doing racist, sexist, or homophobic material, isn't it? It's actually a lot. It's like the biggest taboo. And I remember doing the stand-up comedy circuit, and there were a few comics who were tainted with that. And I have no idea whether they did or didn't, but I do know that you almost couldn't look at them when they came in the room.
Than any song, though it isn't very pretty, you've got to admit it's cute. So all together, let it go.
Have you ever misjudged some material badly?
Oh, yes. Oh, you can do that a lot.
There was a routine I used to do that I loved, but it never really worked. A guy was picked up by aliens and taken up to Mars, and was there for about a week, and then they returned him. And he was being debriefed by the CIA because they wanted to find out what he had learned about Martians and Martian life. And one of the first questions they asked him was, would you say it's a more advanced society than our society? And he said, oh, yes, it's much more advanced. And they said, well, but like by how long would you say? He'd say, I'd say like 6 weeks, I'd say.
I can't believe that didn't work.
I was in New Zealand once, and we went on a fishing trip. I caught a shark within a couple of minutes. I caught a shark, like a 3-foot shark. And everyone clapped, and it was really, you know...
You're the man.
I was the man, yeah. And put it back in, carried on. People were catching cod and all this. I caught another shark. By the time I caught 10 sharks, I was like Shark Boy, and the captain was kind of looking at me thinking, oh, this kid's got something. And little did I know, there was a woman on the boat who was having a really heavy period, and I was fishing right over the toilet outlet, right? So she was effectively chumming the water for me. So there was like this massive, and then she was in the toilet listening to me going, I've got another one. And I remember looking down into the sea and seeing it coming out and thinking, oh, this is clever. They've got like a bait pumping system. But I tried to tell that story as stand-up on stage so many times, and it would just get, oh, come on. You know? I mean, vague disbelief and disgust. And I always thought that was really funny, you know? But it never got a proper laugh, and I also think it's going to work tonight. The period shark stuff is going to really work tonight.
Since then, have you got married?
Yes.
And have you run this past your wife, this whole problem of the shark period joke?
I have told her that.
And would she advise you not to?
She just was disgusted by it. She said, you should never have said that in public.
I'm attracted to subjects that are sort of dark and slightly taboo, and now I realise that you have to approach those things sensitively, and an audience has to have a tremendous amount of trust in you before they'll let you talk about children being killed, for example.
Yes.
But I didn't appreciate that when I was a drunker man.
Yes.
And so I would just go, oh, this is my views on, sort of on things that I wouldn't say now because I'm too sensible.
We did do jokes about the dead Bee Gee the day he died.
Oh, okay.
And that was phenomenally stupid of us. And we made the sort of terrible jokes that were being made in offices up and down the land, and you know, taxi drivers and passengers, all those people could do that. But I, moron, thought it would be fine on the day the man died to go on television and do those jokes.
And were you genuinely sorry?
Yes, I mean, because
you could see how
because the next day we suddenly got the duty log, and you got, oh, actually, you know, that man has relatives in this country. It's not, you know, because it all became, you suddenly realised, oh no, an actual human, a Bee Gee didn't die, a man died, and it was terrible.
I always believe that you can talk about any subject, absolutely any subject, humorously.
So nothing's off limits to you?
No, not in terms of humour. No.
It's the handling of it.
It is the handling of it. And humour is comedy is about context.
I assure you, miss, these gloves are of the very finest quality. I'm sure your fiancé would be delighted with them.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll take them.
I'll have them gift-wrapped immediately.
Thank you.
Would you like to include a card, perhaps?
Jolly good idea. Thank you. Thank you. To my darling Charlie, with love from Mandy.
Oh, that's charming. Thank you.
I hope I'm not making a mistake. These look rather nice, too.
Oh, yes, but they don't look as nice as your Charlie's. I know I'd like my hands if I wanted to keep them warm.
I like you.
What about bad language?
If you went to see Paul Newman in a movie 20 years ago, you wouldn't expect him to say, fuck you to Clark Gable.
No, you wouldn't.
But if you see a movie today, the star of the guy who's on that same level of Paul Newman, who's the star of the movie today, would be saying fuck you to each other for an hour. And nobody's offended, because what was considered outrageous is not considered pedestrian, typical language.
The other dichotomy, in those days was whether you were a pro or anti-cuntist, really. You know, whether you would use the cunt word, and I had several times be heckled for. I was very much a pro-cuntist, really, and so you couldn't dispense with it, really.
You said it a lot. You did.
I did say it an awful lot. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the fact that you were?
It's a cheap laugh, you know. It's just a cheap laugh. Well, I would like to say I was, like Lenny Bruce trying to take the force out of the way, but I was just getting a laugh.
It's like a little boy running home from school and shouting knickers to his mother. They do it they think they're being shocking, and they think but it's so due, it's so awful, it's so ignorant.
And I think when you have your own kids as well, you kind of have to explain it to them, because friends, my friend said they saw you on the telly doing this, that, and the other. I did that big fat quiz of the year and told Jonathan Ross to fuck off on it. The phone went straight away. It's my eldest. Dad?
And then there's the other most stupid ones who dirty up a gag, a perfectly good joke, and they go on and do all the nonsense, which is crazy.
Yeah.
A good gag is a good gag. It should be looked after and
cherished.
Oh, cherished.
Ah, come di orchestra illusa Napoli, e poi sgridatami Napoli.